there guys, Mike here again. Thanks for clicking this video. Welcome to my shop. In a previous video, I made this EL84 single-ended stereo amplifier. And at the end of that video, I stated that I was going to build a matching Linestage or preamp for this amplifier. So here we are. I do get a lot of comments and DMs regarding my amplifier builds. And some of you are newbies and they're kind of leery about spending too much money getting into this hobby because you're not really sure how the project will actually turn out. In this video, I'm going to outline a preamp that is affordable and sounds great and somewhat easy to build. So the preamp I'm going to be building is based around the 6J5 tube. I got two versions here. I got a full metal jacket version and I got a glass tube version. These tubes are very affordable and easy to obtain through all your online sources. The 6J5 here, the full metal one, you can get them for around $10 to $15, and the glass tube are a little more. You can easily find these for under $20 on your various online sources. Here I got some different brands of 6J5 tubes, two which I've never even heard before, like Holtron, Quick Check. I'm sure these tubes are actually made by a major tube manufacturer and just rebranded for retail use. Well, it'll make it fun for doing some tube rolling. We'll see which one sounds the best. Now you're probably wondering, what is a 6J5 tube? Very simple. It's a single triode tube that requires 5 pins to operate. So this is an octal base. 2 of the pins are for the 6-volt filament circuit and the other 3 are to operate the triode. Now the mu of this tube is 20, which makes it very similar to a 6SN7 tube. The 6J5 is a single triode tube and the 6SN7 is a dual triode tube. So basically these two tubes are very similar in their specifications and their tube data properties. Now some say these sound very similar, but your ears would determine that. So what we're going to do is build a preamp based around this tube, the 6J5. I did up a high quality schematic here and I'll link it in the description below so you can download and follow along. Now this topology is nothing really new. I've done this before in my 6SN7 Linestage and my 12AU7 Linestage. The only difference with this one is I showed some tweaks on the circuit design and I've also used different tubes. So we're using a 6J5 as the voltage amplifier and the input tube, and we're going to come off the plate and we're going to direct coupled to the cathode follower, which is a 6CG7 tube, and that will give us some good impedance matching out to the amplifier. So let's back up the truck a little bit. I mentioned that in the cathode follower position we'll be using the 6CG7 tube. The 6G7 tube is a twin triode tube, 9-pin, very similar to a 12AU7 tube. And very similar to as well as a 12BH7. This is a very interesting tube. It's a little bit of a steeper tube meant for more industrial applications. I managed to find 2 new old stock ones, and so we're going to give these a try to see how they actually sound. So for the power supply section, we're going to go with something that I've used in the past and it seems to work well and I'm happy with it. We're going to go with solid state rectification, high capacitance to help eliminate any of the AC ripple. We're also going to stick with the OD3 voltage regulator tube, and that will regulate the voltage at 150 volts DC. It should give us a better linearity on the whole circuit. So when it comes to the chassis, we can do a bunch of different things here. If you don't have a lot of tools or fabrication expertise, you could get by with just doing like a metal top plate. I've built a lot of amplifiers like this. It works well, very easy, quick to do. All you really need is one of these special step bits and a drill, and you could do all this thing in a couple hours. You can polish the aluminum or even paint it, and away you go. Obviously, it doesn't match what I'm doing here, so we're going to do something a little different. So what I want to do is build a preamp that matches this. So then I had an idea, let's do a vertical design, stack the tubes up on top here, a volume knob right here, input selector on and off, put the power supply up here away from everything else, a little step here for the tubes to mount, and it'll just nicely peer through the top. So the fabrication process is going to be very similar to what I did on this one. So all I'm going to do is go to the metal store and we'll do a build montage on how I put this together. So let's get into the wiring in the amplifier. So I've broken this down to like a modular design. So this is the power supply section. So we'll have the filter caps, the dropping resistors, and the regulator tube mounted here, and this will sit in the bottom of the amplifier. This top portion here, this will be the actual amplification section, so the tubes will mount all there, and I also have the volume control here, so that will mount on the bottom like that. And then we have the chassis, everything all ready to go here. I got the power transformer mounted on some rubber grommets here. So the process I do for building my amplifiers is I'll do all the ground and bus work first, and then once that's all done, we will mount the resistors, do a resistance check. If that all checks out, then we'll mount the capacitors and then mount these boards into the actual chassis. Then we'll finish all the chassis wiring, do some testings, and we'll fire it up. Now what I'll do for you guys is I'll put a link in the description below of the actual layout I use for this amplifier, and if there's enough demand, I'll actually do another one of just a flat plate design. So please leave a comment below if a flat plate amplifier design is something you'd like to see, and I can do that up for you guys as well. So after about an hour of wiring, I have the power supply module all done. It's all populated with the bus work, the resistors, the capacitors, and of course this will be the B+ wire going up to the amplification board. Amplification boards all wired up, ready for final assembly into the chassis. Some things to note here. I have the filament circuit all tightly wound flat against the chassis here. We want to keep that away from any type of lead dress. I have the two 100 ohm resistors here soldered directly to a tube socket and to a ground standoff, and that will help us elevate the ground. I have the LED bias circuit here, and I got the LED mounted from the cathode pin over to an empty pin, and then that is grounded. These lead dresses is very short and it's easier to go from a pin to make sure you got good contact. The other thing is we know that this amplifier does create a lot of gain, so we're going to kind of pad the incoming signal. So I have a little attenuation padding circuit here wired directly to the volume control, and I'll put a link in the description below on more about what sizes you can use for different dB attenuation. We have the 9-pin cathode follower underneath here all wired up, and of course we have the output capacitors mounted directly to the board, and I'll run a little lead down to the output. So I want to take a moment to talk about the signal chain. In the signal chain there's a couple resistors and of course a capacitor. Now I'm using these Solon capacitors and I've been having good results with them. I think for the money they're pretty good. If you want to spend a little bit of extra money, you can go with these Clarity caps. I've had good results with them as well. If you want to spend a little more money, you can go with these RE caps. Again, these are designed for high resolution. This circuit would benefit from better capacitors, so don't scrimp out there, but I don't think you need to spend gobs amount of money, you know, 30, 40, 50 to $100 for any type of output capacitor. I don't think it's worth it. I want to also take a moment to discuss these LEDs I'm using to bias the 6J5s. You need to use this HLMP 6000, and these LEDs are a little special and they seem to work the best for the biasing, and they're really quiet. I would not recommend using anything else, and the line there, that goes towards the ground and you must orientate that properly. If you don't, it won't work. So I'm working for a couple of hours here and I got most of the wiring done. So what we're gonna do now is do some testing. We're gonna see if the transformer actually comes on and all the AC wiring is done properly to the transformer. So we're going to test the transformer and the filament circuit. So we're hopefully looking for about 6.3 volts at the filament circuit. Now we're going to test it first without any tubes in it. So to see if we actually have raw voltage there at the tube socket. So it should be a lot higher since we're not drawing any current. And we're going to test everything through my current sink here. So I have a light bulb current sink. And if there's any mistakes, this light bulb will absorb all the shorts in it. And if this stays off and everything works out perfectly, then we can proceed to wiring the rest of the amp up. I don't have the B plus connected yet, so I just have some heat shrink on it and it's all kind of stood off there. So basically we were going to be testing the transformer and the filament circuit and see if that all works. And if it does, then we'll connect the B plus and do the rest of the testing. So my multimeter switched to AC. I got it connected to pins 2 and 7 on the 6J5. And we have my current sink here, and right now the wall voltage is 124 volts. So we'll plug the amplifier in and we'll flick the switch and we'll see what voltage we're getting. On, that's good. So unloaded, we're reading 7.1 volts. So let's put the tubes in and see what that reads. So we'll wait for the tubes to warm up. So I can see the tubes glowing there. And right now we're at 6.8 volts. So that's a little high. So we're going to have to perhaps put a dropping resistor in to bring that down to 6.3. But basically it works. I have connected to the ground and we're right on the first filter cap. So let's flick the power on and then flick the current switch on and we'll see what happens. All right, so we're looking at about 260 and that should drop a little bit once the tubes warm up. Flick it back on here and right on. And let's check out the plate of the 6J5. So we'll just click on connection there and let's flick it on. So as the tube warms up, it gets into its operating voltage. So around 70, 69, 70 volts. What I predicted on the schematic, so that's good. So we're just going to connect on the output capacitor on the positive side there, just as it's leaving the cathode of the cathode follower. So let's flick it on and we'll check the voltage here. And as the tube warms up, ramps down again, starts drawing current, 70 volts. So I went ahead and crunched some numbers here, and the 6J5 is drawing around 3 milliamps. Anywhere between 3 and 4 is fine for that tube in that position. For the cathode follower, the 6CG7, it's drawing around 3 milliamps as well. And I'm not sure if 4 would be better or 2 would be better, but I'll play with it and see what it sounds like and see if it sounds good to my ears. Whenever I decide, will be reflected in the schematic, and I'll link it below, and you can go with that as well. And again, this is a hobby. You can try different values, see what it sounds like. You know, it's your amp. And there's no hum whatsoever coming from the speakers. It's dead quiet. Well, I think it sounds pretty good. Not all my amps will fire up from the get-go and sound like this. Typically I'm chasing down a little hum or a buzz or some type of voltage difference. This one seems to work perfectly. I did take my time building this. And realistically, if you have to retrace your steps, it sometimes makes you a better amp builder. Let's have a quick look at the layout here. So the incoming AC runs along the bottom. The hot lead runs all the way to the switch. And then it goes back to the power transformer, and the pilot light feeds off the switch as well. So the 6.3 AC filament circuit goes straight up, attaches to the top here, and then runs across the top and feeds all the tube sockets. The B plus then comes out of the transformer, really short leads, all nicely wound, and then it goes to the power supply rail. So it flips over to the other side. We have our 3 power supply capacitors and our dropping resistors, and then our big dropping resistor just before the OD3 regulator tube. And then we have our OD3 regulator tube. The regulated B plus runs up to the amplification board. So let's take a look at the signal chain. So in the back we have 3 inputs left and right, and we have our output and a sub output as well. Comes in to the selector switch here. So we've got 3 position selector switch, and it goes up to the volume pot underneath here. The volume pot is padded here with 8 dB of padding. Goes to our input tubes, our 6J5, and then from the 6J5 it goes to the cathode follower, the 6CG7, and then out of the 6G7 it goes to our output capacitors and then down to the output. And then we have a subwoofer output that is isolated from the regular output with a 10K resistor. I really like the way this Linestage turned out. It's a perfect match for my EL84 amp that I previously made. Building the Linestages or preamps are fun projects to get into. Due to their low complexity and low parts count, you don't have to sink a lot of money if you want to try different tubes or different topologies. I got about $200 invested into this Linestage, and of course a couple weekends worth of work. This chassis was a lot of work. So if you have any questions or concerns regarding this build, please leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer them. And I know some of you are going to ask, can I plug a turntable directly into this Linestage? No, you can't. There's no equalization circuit built into this. So that leads me to my future project. I'm going to build a matching phono stage that will plug into this. So please like and subscribe so you can see that build. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.